Okay, I think I'm in an unnecessarily irritated mood today because I don't know, something kind of grates on me. I see it a lot lately, especially since like the Renaissance and everything, this roller skating is that, and obviously after 2020, and people becoming more aware, but I think it just means people just like get more sneaky and don't realize that they're being weird still. But like, people will be like, white people be out, especially white women be out skating with a bunch of black people, but in the videos like the white person is like center stage, like the white girl. It's like, this is same old, same old. I like this video because you guys are skating real good, but there's a black girl all the way down there. Why couldn't you put her in the middle? Like, I'm fed up of seeing white girls being decorated by black men. To me, it just, I don't know, it just kind of says to me, like, you meant to be looking at this white girl, look at the white girl, always looking at the white girls. And then we put black people in there, we've got two black men framing her. Like, they're just either side of her. It's okay. I'm like, I don't think these people are doing it on purpose. I'm sure they're not doing it on purpose. Some maybe that bit aware. But I think that's the problem. I think most people are just not aware. They don't realise that this has been something that's happened to us all along. We've been used as draping or window dressing to make white people look good. And I think people are trying to be more inclusive now, but they're doing it in this weird way that just does what's always been done to us. You're not celebrating us. You're not including us. You're using us to frame yourself. Okay, so right. On a personal level, it bothers me. Because I've been on the receiving end of this kind of thing. I think everyone has. If you're brown, you have at some point, whether it's when you were a kid and you're playing games, or if you're older and you're doing stuff at work. I think you always do. But something that always bothered me when I did dance at college, there was only one boy in our class, and he was a white boy. He was very sweet. I really got on with him. The girls I didn't get on with. But anyway, whenever there was something that needed a man, obviously Ricky got picked, but then I was the other one, and there's this other girl. There was two other black girls in my class, and we would always be the stand-in males. And it always bothered me because even growing up, like my whole life really, if I'm around other white girls, I'm always seen as like the stronger one, the more powerful one, the more masculine one. And I don't like to think of myself as masculine at all. I never wanted to. I was a bit of a tomboy growing up, but I still felt girly. I still did girly things. I liked being a girl. But as I grew up, it kind of got beaten out of me a bit more. And I was just like, okay, I'm the big person. I'm the chunky one. I'm the strong one. Like, I'd go out with my friends who were much bigger than me, but because they were white and they'd be carrying like shopping or whatever, I'd be like, do you want me to carry that for you? Because I'll just instantly just feel like, oh, they're weaker than me. It's something that gets beaten into you. I don't know. These kind of things just bug me. They get me in the feels. Just answer me this. Why, when black people are the minority, like pretty much 90 to 100% of the time, are we treated like a minority? We're treated like, oh, well, the majority matters more, so we're going to pander to the majority. So why, when white people are in black environments, are they treated like special? Like they're royalty. That's where it comes from, really. It's all that colonial, can't outrank someone. Black people can't outrank white people ever. So when white person's in a black environment, they're the diamond in the rough. But if black person's in a white environment, we're just the extras. I'm sorry. I know I'm going off on one, but I want to come back to the whole black people are stronger than white people thing, because it's something that's been bothering me since 2020. Like, it always did bother me, but it really got like heightened in 2020 because I had 2 home births, and I thought some things were strange at the time. It wasn't until 2020 did I really realise probably what was going on. But I had a home birth with Rue, which apparently after I had her, I wasn't supposed to have because she was my first baby. The reason why I had a home birth with Rue wasn't because I wanted one. I wanted just a water birth in hospital. But like 2 of their pools are broken and they couldn't guarantee that I'd have the other pool. So I was like, well, can I just like not have her in a bath or something like that? And they were like, no. The only way you can do it is have a home birth. And I lived in a flat at the time. I've been living in a flat at the time, and I'd already been signed off to the home birth team by that point, because I'd said like, oh, would we like the water birth? So then I was already signed off to the home birth team. They came round to assess everything, and they were like, oh, you have a home birth here, you're on top floor flat, your floor probably can't hold a pool, so you just have to have her at home on your bed. And I'm like, I wanted a water bath, can't I just have her in the bath, please? Like, I just don't want to do this on my bed or on a bed. And they said no. So basically I had her at home. I didn't realise how weird it was until quite a while after I'd had Rue that I wasn't supposed to have my first child at home. The big problem came with Mitzi. This is where, like, I legit had trauma and just did not want to kind of think about it. But when I got pregnant with Mitzi, I knew I was pregnant, but the tests weren't showing up pregnant. And I was, like, going out of my mind. I was taking tests, like, every single day because I just knew that I was pregnant, and also knew exactly when I did the deed, because we were actually planning on trying for a baby, but we wanted to have another July baby. But things happen, and there was a one-time thing kind of thing. So I knew exactly when this pregnancy had occurred. And when my test finally showed up pregnant at the doctor's, which I've now since found out there's a reason why sometimes they don't show up pregnant, like the blastocyst like forms slower, but it catches up later. And then, so for a while, you don't have the right levels of hormone to show up on a test. So that was what happened. But when it finally showed up pregnant, and I said, when I would have felt pregnant, they just said, no, you didn't. It was about 3 weeks after, because that's when your test has shown up at this amount of hormone. And I'm like, yeah, but I know it can't have been because I didn't have sex then. For every appointment I went to, they'd be like, your due date is this date. And I'd be like, no, I say it's 3 weeks before then, but you keep saying it's this date. And it really upset me. They never believed me. And there was this thing at the back of my mind thinking, are they not believing me because Black people have this false perception of promiscuity, and maybe they think that because I went to all my appointments with Jared, that maybe I just didn't want to fess up that I cheated on him or something, and so they just didn't want to believe me. But it really upset me that they never did, because I absolutely knew exactly when, like exactly when, like, I don't know, it really, really upset me. And then there were several things that went wrong during that pregnancy that they completely neglected. But then the thing that really hit me was when I gave birth. I chose to actually go for a home birth the second time. I was living in a house by that point, so I could definitely have my water birth. And I really liked the experience of having a home birth with Rue, being able to just get up after having a baby, make a cup of tea. You know, it was actually really, really nice. So I wanted to do it again. Okay, I'm kind of a freak when it comes to having babies. I get gigantic really quick. Everyone thinks I'm having these giant babies, and I don't labour very long. With Rue, I laboured for, I think it was, 4 hours. And like, I was only pushing for like 12 minutes. I know some people it's TMI, but I'm very quick at having babies. So when I was pregnant with Mitzi and I was in labour, I said to them, look, I know there's this whole thing, like each pregnancy after is maybe like half the time to give birth. Last time, like super, super quick. Rue was not a gigantic baby. She was actually super tiny. She was only 6 pounds 12. But Mitzi, they thought it was going to be really tiny as well. And I'm saying, like, no, she's huge. I could tell she was a big baby. I was so much bigger with Mitzi than I was with Rue. Mitzi came out over 8 pounds. I was right all the time. I was always freaking right, you know? It's happening to me, okay? Like, but, so anyway, they think I'm having this tiny little baby. And I'm like, it's not gonna last long. I'm like running the pool already, and they're like, no, wait till we get there. I'm like, no, this isn't gonna take long. If I wait till you get there, because of what you're saying when you're gonna come, the pool won't get run and I'll have another dry birth. I'm running my pool. And literally I ran my pool, and as I was stepping into the pool, they turned up. And literally I had a 2-hour birth with Mitzi, so she came out really, really quickly. And they brought in this little can of gas and air. So like, I'm not having epidurals or anything like that. I just had gas and air. That's all I had for pain relief, and the water, of course. And they'd come in with this half tank, and they were like, oh, we just got this half tank. Like, we've been around some other women's houses today, so we're just using up the rest on you. And if you watch any of my skating videos, you'll notice that from my street to my house, there's like this big row of, so outside my house, there's these big rows of hedges that go up to the street. So that's where the car was parked, out on the street for the midwives. And I clearly drained my tank very quickly, this little half a tank of gas and air that I had. And I'll be like, I need more pain relief. And they're like, oh, just go back to the car and go get you one. And they'd come back and I'd have it for like a couple of minutes and it would be empty. I'd hear this like sucking drain sound and I'd be like, I need more. And they'd be like, I'll go get you another one. It's like, can you just bring in like multiple for fuck's sake? I'm in labour here and I need my pain relief and you keep fucking off for like 5 minutes and I have to go through all these contractions with no pain relief. Like, can you just get your shit together? And they never fucking did. They didn't. For the whole time I had that labour, they went out and bought in individual half cans. They did not give me one single whole can of gas and air to work through for myself. I just had to manage on little dribs and drabs that they want to use up on me. And after 2020, when you find out that there's all this, black women don't get believed as much when they're giving birth, or when they say they're in pain, or the mortality rates are worse for black women. And then just going back to what I always grew up thinking about myself is that I've been made to feel like I'm stronger than everyone else, but not in this like admiral way, just more like a animal beast-like way. That's kind of how I felt, like I was like a mule or something. And it kind of brought all that back last year when I thought about this whole situation, because it's always been on my mind about how like annoying it was that they just wouldn't give me my painkillers. And then it's like, did they just not believe me? It kind of cemented that in my mind that they didn't believe when I was pregnant. And then they didn't believe that I was in as much pain as I was, or I didn't need as much pain relief, something like that. I don't know, but it really got to me. And then when I had Mitzi and she was here, she was this big chunky fucking baby. She had all her skin peeling off. Every little crease and wrinkle she had all this peeling off skin. And the first thing they're like, oh, she's overcooked. Like, you don't fucking say. I've been telling you. And what really got to me is that you're not supposed to, and I knew this at the time, you're not supposed to go over 2 weeks overdue. And if you refuse to be induced, they have to monitor you daily, okay? They have to monitor you daily if you elect to go overdue. And I did not want to go overdue. I was already so uncomfortable. I was screaming in my sleep and didn't know. Jared would have to say that I woke him up because I was screaming, trying to roll over in my sleep, and I didn't even know. But like, I was in so much pain. And they just never gave me the treatment that I feel that I just deserved as a human. So they look at her and they tell me that they think she's overdue. And I'm saying, well, you've let me get to this point. They waited till I was 2 weeks overdue by their times. Like, or almost. It was almost. I was begging them, basically, if they would just do me a sweep. So it was a little bit before the 2 week mark. But basically, she came out 3 weeks overdue. And she should have been monitored daily. I should have been monitored daily if we're going that overdue, but because they didn't believe me, that's why that happened. I would never have allowed myself to go overdue by 3 weeks. I didn't want to go overdue by a day. I wanted her out. I'm so impatient to get them out. I'm like, I'm done with this pregnancy bullshit. And then when I went to go register her, I went to the doctors and he was like, oh, I see that she was about 3 weeks overdue. Is there a reason why you did that? And I was like, I didn't. You didn't believe me. You wouldn't sweep me. You wouldn't do anything. You never believed me. And he's like, yeah, well, we're sorry about that. Now let's move on. And it's just like, the disrespect. I've never had a good apology. We could have died. Me and Mitzi, we both could have died from that birth. And we're lucky that the only side effect that's come from it is that Mitzi can't speak well. She has some kind of issue with pronouncing words, which apparently will over time get better. But it's apparently a common thing with children who are really overdue. They have a problem with their speech, so more confirmation. But it just really drilled home to me that I really don't want any more kids. I did want more kids, but after having Mitzi, I said I didn't want any more kids. The pregnancy was too hard and everything was just too hard to deal with. But after, I keep saying last year, but I mean 2020, when I realised just what the stats were, I was like, I could have just been so easily been another statistic. And I can't have any more kids. I can't trust the healthcare system.